Hi, it's me, the storyteller. Thank you for joining me. Most of my stories on this channel are based on actual events, and some aren't. I'll let you decide if this story is fiction, or if it's not. The first clip arrived on a Thursday. Daniel had just returned from work, keys still in hand, when he saw the email. No subject line, no text, just a download link labeled simply 01.mp4. He nearly deleted it, but something about the blandness of it, how it didn't try to bait him or scare him, made him click. The video opened to grainy nighttime footage, black and white and jumpy, like from a cheap outdoor security cam. The timestamp read 2:17 a.m. A man stepped into frame. The camera was pointed at the side alley near Daniel's apartment. Trash bins, a chain-link gate. The man wore a hoodie. It took less than 5 seconds for Daniel to realize the man was him. Same build, same way of walking, slightly heavy on the left foot. But he had no memory of leaving the apartment at 2:17 a.m. In fact, he'd gone to bed around 11 the night before, alone. He'd scrolled his phone until midnight, then plugged it in and passed out. He remembered waking to his alarm at 6:45, nothing in between, and yet there he was, moving through the alley. He watched the clip twice. The figure just walked past the trash bins, out of frame. The video ended, 31 seconds long. Daniel spent that night awake in his chair, staring at the hallway that led to his bedroom. He pulled up his phone's health app. No steps recorded during that time. No phone activity. He checked his indoor smart camera, the one mounted in the living room near the front door. Nothing. No movement. No sound. No door opening. But the alley in the video, that was definitely behind his building. Even the scuffed dumpster was the same. 3 nights later, another clip arrived. 02.mp4. This one was longer, nearly 2 minutes, different location. Daniel again, hooded, slow, but this time in the stairwell of a nearby parking garage. He descended 2 levels, then stood near a wall for nearly a full minute, unmoving, hands by his sides. Then he turned and walked off camera. Daniel had never parked there in his life. He didn't own a car, but he recognized the place. It was 4 blocks from his office. A co-worker once got mugged there, and Daniel had avoided it ever since. He checked his calendar. That night, he'd been at home, watching a movie on his laptop. He confirmed the streaming history. He even remembered falling asleep on the couch halfway through. The clips kept coming. One every few nights, different timestamps, different cameras, always Daniel, always alone. In 03.mp4, he was seen standing across from a nursing home, just standing, not moving. In 4, he walked through the lobby of a hotel he'd never entered before, brushing shoulders with a night clerk who didn't seem to notice him. 05 showed him sitting on a swing in a playground, still, barely breathing, 4 in the morning. Daniel told no one. What could he say? His friends would joke about sleepwalking, but he knew his habits. He didn't sleepwalk. He never had. And the cameras in his own home always showed nothing. He started keeping notes, drawing maps, highlighting times and addresses. He installed a second camera inside his bedroom, another in the hallway. He even booby-trapped the front door with a string of jingle bells. Nothing. Not a sound. But the emails kept coming, each one more chilling than the last. One showed him at a storage unit facility he didn't recognize. Another had him inside a diner, just staring into his coffee cup. He wore the same clothes each time, hoodie, jeans, but they were always slightly different than what he remembered wearing to bed. Sometimes, the timestamp matched moments he was fully awake, at home, doing something else. And then came the worst one. It was titled Final.mp4. The file size was massive. Daniel hesitated before clicking play. The footage began as usual, low-res black and white, a wide shot of his own apartment building. The angle was unfamiliar, high up, possibly from the rooftop of the building across the street. At first, there was nothing, just a blank street and a parked car. Then, at 2:13 a.m., a figure emerged from the building's front door. Daniel. But he wasn't alone. Another man followed him, tall, slender, wearing something long and dark. The camera quality made it impossible to make out a face, but the movement was wrong, too smooth, almost gliding. The figure stayed close behind Daniel as he walked down the sidewalk. Daniel sat frozen, watching his past self disappear down the street. The video cut. New angle, inside a subway station. Daniel again, now sitting on a bench, slouched forward like asleep. The tall figure stood a few feet away, no other people in sight. The screen flickered for a moment, then zoomed slightly. The camera panned, whether by operator or on its own, Daniel couldn't tell, and locked in on the tall figure's face. Blurry, but something was off. The eyes were wrong, too wide, too far apart. The skin around the mouth drooped unnaturally, as if the jaw had been dislocated and loosely reattached. And then it moved. The face twisted toward the camera, directly. Daniel paused the video, tried to breathe. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. When he pressed play again, the screen remained still for several seconds. Then, without warning, the camera began to slowly zoom in. But this time, it wasn't on the figure. It was on Daniel, the sitting version of himself, until, suddenly, his face lifted toward the camera and smiled. The screen went black. Daniel staggered away from his desk. The air in the apartment felt wrong, thicker, like something was watching. He ripped the power cord from the wall, dragged the laptop to the kitchen, and dropped it in the sink. Poured water over it until it sparked and hissed. But it was already too late. That night, the bell trap on the front door jingled. The bedroom camera recorded nothing, just static. But in the morning, Daniel's phone buzzed. No text, just another email. No sender. One new attachment. Live.mp4. If you enjoyed this story, please consider subscribing to the channel. Give it a like, a comment, and maybe a share. But if you didn't like the story, maybe share it with someone you don't like. In any case, I'm glad you stuck around to the end.